Hello and welcome to Something Like That with Nav. Yes, that's right. My name is Nav, and today, hey, we got a very interesting show. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a very good show because I have this particular individual who somehow, I don't know, for some particular reason, she just gives out this so-called cool, chill out, nice aura. I don't know why is that so. This is the very first time I'm actually having a chat with her. The first time I'm talking with her. So let's bring her in. It is none other than Bihzhu. Did I get the name right? Bihzhu, right?
No, it's actually pronounced Bihzhu.
Bihzhu.
Like train. Yeah.
Ah, okay,
Don't
okay.
worry, everyone gets it wrong, so you just joined the club.
I know. I just like because I've heard that Bihzhu part of it. Then I've heard the Bihzhu part of it. So I was a bit confused which is which. No, I thought like maybe the Bihzhu part was just someone like the manja kind of conversation going on. But then again, you are a very special individual for some particular reason. I don't know why. It's like you're the kind of person when you see, you just feel like I get very comfortable. It's like you're kind of person who looks like I could just sit down, have a chat with you all evening, chill out, relax. You kind of project this kind of aura. Are you like actually that kind of person?
Nav, that is so sweet of you to say.
No, it is. It is. That's how it looks like when I was chatting with you, and I've heard some of your previous conversations before, and it's so nice.
Thank you. I try to, just be completely myself, and I think when I do that, it kind of allows people to be themselves.
Okay.
And that's where we're meeting each other at a place of like authenticity and realness, and we don't have to put on any fronts or pretend, and just be sure.
Nice. It's
Yeah.
very nice because I think that also seems to be shown through your music at the very same time. Because I can see the type of music that you produce, or rather the kind of performance that you give, it's all like the feel-good factor is infused with all the songs, which is that your theme of your music itself?
Um, I don't set out particularly to write like feel good music, but rather I try to give very honest reflections of my life.
Okay.
So whatever music you hear is essentially my life experiences in an open book. And just so happens, I guess, like I tend to try to be the kind of person that sees the silver lining in a situation, but that doesn't mean I don't have sad songs, or songs about things that are not so great. But yeah.
Yes, nice. That's nice because I was looking through the lyrics of some of your songs and all. It's very uplifting to a certain extent. It's like when I was listening to some of it, like for example, what's the track again? I just had it in my mind. I was just listening to it a moment ago. I think it was Nowness. Yeah, Nowness. And
Nowness, yes.
Exactly. It was such a beautiful thing to listen to lyrics such as "Say goodbye to yesterday. The past stays in its place. This is the true eternity. This is us today. No need to seek tomorrow or build houses in the sky. This is true eternity here now, you and I." It's so nice to hear this kind of stuff. It's been a while since I actually heard those kind of things in their songs and lyrics, which is one of the reasons why I was kind of highly motivated to have this conversation with you. And I've also, of course, being a person who's going to conduct interviews, so I've done some homework here and there. It looks like you're kind of it looks like you're kind of also technically a little spiritual in your daily life. Is that true? And when I say spiritual, I'm not talking about cut goat, go to temple, pray 5 times kind of thing. Not that kind of thing.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you?
I am, and it's really interesting that you bring up that song and the fact that I live a spiritual life, because I feel like honestly true spirituality is not removed from your physical life. It's like completely intertwined. It's a part of your everyday life, and that particular song Nowness, it was written about an ex. And the funny thing is, the night before our first date, I actually kind of had like a past life dream of us together, and it was like okay, and went on a date, and it was great, but I had this really strong feeling also that we wouldn't be together for long.
Oh.
Like I
Ouch.
cannot explain it, right? But
Okay.
and I was right. We burned through intensely this love affair for about 2 months. Yeah, just about 2 months. And so I wrote that song when we were in the middle of it. And so the lyrics, as you said, say goodbye to yesterday and all that. It was me referencing like we might have had a past life together, but
Okay.
let's forget it. And the no need to seek tomorrow and build castles in the sky is based on my feeling that this relationship is not gonna be a long one. And so let's forget about that. And so letting go of the past and not looking forward to the future and really just living in the now, and let's focus on the present moment and enjoy it while it lasts, and forget the rest. So that's
Nice.
essentially,
Nice, because
yeah.
like all the songs that I was going through one after another is like, wow, this is the kind of stuff that you really need to listen to. It's like, it picks you up, whether it's good or bad, whether you had a good day or a rough day. And once you're listening through your tracks, I was like, wow, this girl, I need to put her on Spotify on, especially on loop, particularly on her tracks. But I must say, I'm a little disappointed in the sense that why haven't you released more songs? Because you've been in the business for a very long time. There's only one EP, which is the Nightingale's Tales. That was somewhere in 2011, and then it was more of singles and singles and singles. And there's a gap between 2 years and 4 years, and then it goes on like maybe 1 year once. Why is that so? You are a prominent name in the industry. Everybody talks about you,
Really?
especially yes in the circuit. Trust me, I've been in the circuit, and I've heard you at least out of three gatherings or whatever, your name comes out at least once. Hey, if you go check out Bihzhu performing here, Bihzhu's out with this performance, that
Oh man,
performance.
thank you guys. I had no
Yeah.
idea, but that's
Oh,
so super nice to hear.
you got good friends doing PR for you, man. But you see, that's how it is. You are pretty well known in the circuit. So what kept you holding back on releasing more music or frequently, or perhaps an album?
Okay, so you're right. I've been doing this for a long time. Like I think this is my 17th year as a musician, but I became a solo artist only in 2011, and that's when I released Nightingale Tales. And I will say that in the middle of that little gap that you notice, between like 4 years and whatnot, and the 2 years, I think I went through a little bit of a creative block. You know,
Okay.
like both personally, creatively, spiritually, everything. Like I said, everything is interconnected, right?
Okay.
So I didn't have that much music coming out then. And as for my recent spate of singles since 2019, it all comes down to resources.
Okay.
Like
That's
I'm
fine.
an independent musician, completely self-funded, and every time I release something, it requires money.
Ah.
I have to put out like a good quality song, and sometimes a music video that comes with it, and then the marketing, the promotion. So it actually boils down to money.
Okay. That's understandable. Yeah. Yeah. That's one thing.
But I will say also that I'm very much a go with the flow kind of girl,
Okay.
and I try to listen to like my instincts and whatever feels right. And sometimes when I get that creative energy, I'll be doing lots of stuff. And sometimes when I feel like I need to take a break, I will. So, and that's the beauty of being an independent musician as well. Like I'm not beholden to someone else's deadlines,
Okay.
and I'm allowed to do what I want to when I want to. And that also ties into the fact that I do a couple of side hustles,
Right.
to pay the bills and all that. But I've come to realize that this is the balance that I need. By having other jobs that I also like, and putting food on the table, and taking the pressure of needing music to support me financially,
Okay.
I'm allowed to be really free and creative and just put out music that I genuinely want to.
That's a nice way of putting it, because I was
Yeah.
before you mentioned this, I was a bit confused because you do a lot of performances. I mean, both locally and internationally. Yes, as a matter of fact, a while back you were on tour with India, Korea, Australia. You had a lot of places you've been to, and I'm pretty sure through those journeys, through those tours, you would have built a fan base. And of course, once they got hooked onto this this kind of music or this personality, they would expect more, to know more about Bihzhu or to hear more from her. But with the gap, that huge gap that's taking place, it would be, I mean, would it be difficult to have a consistent fan base, right? A consistent following.
Yeah, and I think there's something like an artist or a musician in the modern world have to balance. Like people are consuming content at an insane rate, and so you gotta ask yourself, like, why are you doing this?
Okay.
Like, don't get me wrong, I love my audience and I appreciate every single person who listens to me and who interacts with me on social media and all that. I appreciate you very much, and I love that you follow my music and me, but I have to take care of myself first.
True. Fair enough. Fair enough.
And if I'm not able to churn out singles the way like a commercial artist is able to, then I'm not going to hold myself to that standard because they're being supported in ways that I am not. And so I'm doing the best I can, and I know people who genuinely care about me and my music understand.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
That's a very nice way of putting it. So for those who just got hooked on to Bihzhu, right?
Bihzhu, yes.
Bihzhu, all right. Well, who got hooked on to Bihzhu. Now you know why you don't really get much of the music, but when you get it, cherish it, keep it. It's like one rare edition thingy that comes out often. And you do a lot of performances, of course, and it's mainly, I'm talking about Malaysia, is mainly focused in Kuala Lumpur itself, right? And of course, occasionally you do in Penang from time to time. So have you ever considered spreading that a little more on terms of shows? Because I've noticed after the pandemic, there seems to be this, how do I put this, diversion in terms of instead of performing just in KL, most of the artists started picking up different states, just going out to spread their music, something different to treat their fans. Have you ever considered that?
Oh yes, definitely. Like I would love to do like a little tour of Malaysia in various places, and I don't want to jinx it, but I do have some plans in the works. Possibly something next year. I think maybe this is something that is a me issue. Like if I want to put on a show, I really want to make sure it's a good quality show. And the last time I organized something like that was in 2019 at Taman Tugu Nursery. It was called Bihzhu in Bloom. So
Okay.
it was a showcase, and I made it like a family-friendly affair. I had a bubble artist, food trucks, other kinds of vendors. My good friend Faris, who DJ'd as an opening act, and then my band and I performed for an hour showcase in the middle of all these trees, and so I would love to be able to carry that concept to other places in Malaysia, and I am planning something.
Nice.
But let's see what happens.
Fingers crossed is something I'll definitely look forward for. And recently, you came up with a track, or rather, I would say a remake. Can I use the word remake for this particular classic track by Jimmy Boyle, which is an amazing. It was such a beautiful track. I mean, the original and your version, in fact. So why did you actually pick this song?
So I'm a Penang girl.
Okay.
As you know, and Jimmy Boyle, the composer, is also from Penang. And in 2016, Paul Augustine, who's the director of Penang Island Jazz Festival, and the curator of this museum called Penang House of Music, was opening this gallery. And what he did was invite me to perform Jimmy Boyle's song, Gendering, with his son, James Boyle, who is an educator, composer, musician in his own right? And that was the first time I've heard of the name Jimmy Boyle, and the first time I heard of Gendering. I practiced the song, played it with James, and completely fell in love with it, like head over heels. And I came back to my band and I said, like, guys, I really, really love this song. Can we rearrange it and do our own version of it? And we did. And since 2016, I've been performing it everywhere. I recorded it in 2017, wanting to release it, and then it didn't happen. And then, things kept snowballing. I tried again, and boom, boom, boom. Finally, in 2021, I released a single. And this year, in February, I released the music video and also the documentary.
Yes,
that accompanies the story of Jimmy Boyle. Yeah.
I was a very one way it's like very inspiring documentary, but on the other side, it was a pretty tough life for Jimmy during the Japanese occupation. And despite all that, he still came out, wrote music, and he kept on releasing a whole lot of great stuff. So for those who haven't checked that out, I'm going to post it on the website. You just watch for yourself and get to know the history of Jimmy Boyle and the history of this particular track. It's an amazing track, and I felt so sad for Jimmy for one point. It's like the tough life that he had to go through, but hey, that never stopped him. That's the best part. He didn't give up.
And I feel so, I don't believe in coincidences, and I feel somehow like I was given this opportunity to do this song, and given this opportunity to share Jimmy's music with a brand new audience, and sort of say his name out loud again, so people don't forget him. And I really am so grateful, and the support that I've gotten from Jimmy's son James and the Boyle family, I couldn't have asked for like more generosity,
Yeah, it's very true.
I feel very honored to be able to like be this conduit of sorts to make people fall in love with Jimmy Boyle again and never forget his name.
Actually, what you did was something I would consider is like opening up the gates for many other artists to pick up on, because like you mentioned earlier, you didn't know Jimmy Boyle for one point of time, and he has composed so many great tracks of the early years, which of course, like you mentioned in the documentary, one of it was the school anthem or school songs that you sing in school, and there were a couple of other tracks going on there. And bringing a new vibe, or rather fresh feel to that track, like as what you did to Chindering, was a great idea. I would encourage more artists to do that. Just try to do a bit more research. I'm pretty sure there's so many other artists out there who's actually composed tracks which needs to give needs a little boost to give them the recognition that they need. So I just hope we won't stop at Chindering, right? Please.
Absolutely. And I hate to say this, but Malaysia is notorious for erasing our own history.
Yes, very true.
We do not seem to, or the powers that be, that are supposed to protect and be caretakers of our history, do not seem to be able or even have the desire to do that. So which is why I have a really huge admiration for people like Paul Augustine, who set up Penang House of Music so he could try to preserve as much of our music history as possible. And someone's got to do it.
I think that's true, because one of the things that you also notice, that being raised and educated in Malaysia, history lessons always been about the location. It's been about a couple of warriors, a bit of war and this and that. But one of the things that's hardly mentioned is the art and music culture that happened through the years. We've been in the cinematic universe for decades now. We've been in the music industry for decades. We had composers, we had great actors, and the only stories that you hear is on Facebook, like, oh, artist couldn't make it, artist, this is his grandson right now, and then you replay a couple of old movies, but you never really educate the generation about the existence of these people. So I think that's something that we needs to be infused in our education system. The artist, the music.
And we are so rich in history, we are so rich in culture, we are so rich in the arts. If only we would all look in our own backyard and love ourselves.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because the problem is, I wouldn't want to get into politics, of course. I don't want to touch that, because the people who's running the show, most of them don't know arts, don't know music as well as they should. Yeah, so it's like, no, I can't make money out of it. But then again, you can if you plan it right. That's the thing, which I hope to see there's some changes in that. And speaking of Chindering, the music video, okay, here's something I've noticed about you, your style in terms of performances and so on. I Am Enough, the cover you had that artistic look for that, and Chindering has taken it to another level, a whole new level altogether. So are you into this artistic kind of a vibe when it comes to production of visually?
It's really interesting, because I will say I am a huge fan of collaborations.
Okay.
Huge fan. And I Am Enough, the single cover, the idea of it came from a conversation I had with the photographer.
Okay.
So we sort of spoke about the song, the story behind the song, and she had this idea, and then we worked together to manifest it and bring it to life. And with Gendering the music video, my creative director, Chris Lim, who's one of my besties, he had a vision, and then we roped in Daniel Adams, who was the set designer and the person who created the concept of the look. And so I would say I never dictate to my collaborators what I want things to look like, but rather I tell them what the story is and what are the values and what are the feelings that I have about a particular project, and I sort of let them run with it. And I love what comes out, because if it was left to me, I probably wouldn't have been able to conceive of these things. But when you trust the people you collaborate with, magic happens.
Nice. It was beautiful. It was. I felt sorry for one of your bandmates who actually had a dip in the pool.
Dude, who plays guitar.
Yeah.
He didn't mind.
Like all dressed up, and then he had to be in the pool, man. But it was a very how do I put this, visually satisfying music video. It's like you just like, oh, you want to watch it, every single details. Like there was one part, I don't know whether it was the wind blowing the butterfly in his shoulder. There was one of it, the details is like, for a second, it's like, is that a real butterfly or not? You know, every single details that's put into the particular video. You must have spent quite a lot for that one.
So I was very fortunate that for the Gendering music video and the documentary, I received a grant from Cendana.
Okay.
Which is the cultural economy arts a body in Malaysia, and I fully utilized every single cent of that grant. And can I just say, the quality of the work that we put out was worth like 2 or 3 times the amount of money we got.
I could see that.
And I just want to give a huge shout out to every single person who worked on it, because they put as much love into it as I did into my music. And I always say it takes a kampong. And I exist today with my music career today because I have an amazing kampong.
Nice, nice. It's good to have good friends around you at all times. Yeah. And and speaking of music and the stuff that you're coming out with, like you mentioned earlier, you of course, if you want to look at your music, the style, the stuff that you produce, you would consider yourself to be a genreless, which means you don't really focus to one particular genre, right? You just anything goes, or whatever you feel like writing at that particular moment, you do it. But I'm pretty sure as an individual, you have your personal taste of a selective genre that you listen to on your playlist most of the time. So what would that be? I know you're a fan of reggae, and
you said it, bro. I'm a reggae girl at heart. But I will say I have a soft spot also for like indie soul, and a little bit of funk. But reggae is my jam.
Then how come I don't hear you on a reggae track? I mean, maybe you had. I would have missed that out.
I have I used to play a reggae track that I wrote called Sexy. It was written when I was singing with a reggae band for 2 years. You know. And I just never got around to recording it, and I don't know why, actually. I don't know why. Or maybe it's time to write a new one. I don't know.
I know, because when I found out that you like reggae, then I hear a lot of jazzy stuff and then a bit of contemporary. Then it's like, where is that reggae? Where is that reggae? If you're a fan of reggae, there must be some elements of reggae in some of the tracks.
You gotta come to a live show for that.
I definitely got to check it out. I definitely got to check that out.
But in March, I did a show at Bobo KL.
Okay.
So it was a full length, 2-hour show, and I recorded the video and the audio from that show, and I'm going to be releasing a couple of videos every few weeks, so you will definitely hear a few reggae tracks on there. But
okay, but it doesn't matter as long as I just because when you have the thoughts in your head, it's like, well, what would she be like if she sang reggae? How does it sound? So that's been running in my head for the past couple of days.
And great.
I'm sure you do. I am very, very sure you do. And in terms of coming up with more new music, have you ever considered of experimenting on different genres for the next couple of tracks, upcoming tracks? The things that you had in your mind.
Like you're right when you say I don't write based on I when I write it doesn't cross my mind at all genre. it doesn't come into play at all. It really is just what does this song feel like at that particular moment, and oftentimes it kind of takes a life of its own, and currently I have a really amazing collaborator that I work with, Melina Williams.
Okay.
She's the front woman of Temperamental, and she's like a composer, an arranger, and a producer. And basically, all my songs from 2019 onwards, I write the music. I mean, the melody and the lyrics. I send them to her, and I tell her, okay, this is what I want it to sound like, and then she gives me back magic.
Nice.
So yeah.
I like the people that you work with, because I'm also confused at the very same time. It's like, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not exactly a musician. I wouldn't know how the thing works for most artists. But there's this thing that if I'm a fan of a particular artist, it also has to do with their genre of music. Now, let's say, for example, okay, if I'm going to name somebody, a pop artist, like say if I'm taking Taylor Swift or maybe Rihanna, I know that's their particular genre of music because I like the genre. I follow that particular artist because of that. Now, if I'm a fan of Bihzhu for that particular track I've listened to, for example, let's take Nowness, okay, just take that. For that genre, I would expect more of that sounding tracks to come out. But when you have different variety of music, how would that have an impact towards your listeners on that sense?
Okay, so I respect and appreciate artists who have very clear-cut genres that they're into, I mean, amazing. But for me, I feel like I'm a multifaceted individual, and me as a person, like, what you see is literally what you get, and that's reflected in the music I come up with. And I would never want to pigeonhole myself into one genre because I am more than one facet of my being. And if you like me for just one song and you don't dig my other music, that's totally cool. Because when I feel like as artists, right, like the music intellectually belongs to me. But when it's released out into the world, I have no control over it anymore.
Okay.
And however a person receives the music, however they listen to it, or whether they resonate with it or not, is completely out of my control. And in a way, I kind of don't care because I don't want to be attached to how my music is received.
Okay.
Because again, music is like a spiritual calling to me. I feel like I'm allowed to be an instrument of love through music. And so my job is to put out the music, and that's it. I have to be detached completely from how a person receives it. Because if I impose, like, oh, I hope after you listen to this you like it, or I hope you dig this particular riff or whatever, then my ego is at play. Does that make sense?
Yes, I get it. It kind of reminds me of the artist Prince. Prince, as you know it, he has, I mean, as much as people talk about his funk, he also had rock, he had his ballads, he had different genres, but still everybody remembered Prince because he came out with music as such. So I think I could have an idea of how you like to look at it and on that aspect of it. And speaking of music that you had all this while, and upcoming music, anything new after CENDERING?
I'm going to be releasing a live performance version of my single Alive next month.
Nice.
So I'm really excited about that because so everyone who played on it was amazing. The video crew was amazing. I'm really looking forward to it. And like I said, I'm going to be releasing, videos of Bobo here and there. I do have a couple of songs that are done that I haven't put out into the world yet. And again, it's resources, number one. And the other thing is I'm just waiting for the right time.
Nice. The right time, the right place.
I don't want to release something just because. I want to do it because it feels right. And sorry to people who expect more music from me, but I gotta listen to myself.
God, do what makes you happy. That's
Yeah.
how I like to look at things. And speaking of people who's been working with you on live sessions, do you have a particular fixed band that always performs with you, or do you have like sessionist that comes and goes for your performances?
Yes. So the current band that I have, they have been playing. We have been playing together for 6 years now,
Wow.
and they are my permanent band. I wouldn't want to replace them for anything in the world because they all sing backup vocals.
Okay.
And besides that, they are of course amazing musicians in their own right, and they do a lot of other stuff with other people. But somehow we seem to like each other.
You got
We
the
have
chemistry
great-
going, lah.
Yes, we do, and you know, when you're in a romantic relationship, people always say, "Oh, travel together, and then you'll know if your relationship can work or not." And I feel the same principle applies to bands. Tour together, and then you'll know if you're okay together or not. And this band is the one that I toured with in India, and I always say we slept 8 of us in a room, okay, in 4 bunk beds. We spent 10 whole days together, almost 24/7 with each other, and there was not a single fight. So
Nice.
I love this band for life.
Okay, that's very good chemistry. Lock them in. Sign a 30-year contract if you have to, but it's good to have bands like this. It's not easy because I've noticed there are bands that keep switching members. Whether it's the musicians or the singers or vocalists and all. It changes quite frequent. But when you have a band that has good chemistry, that goes a very, very, very long way. And that's interesting to have that. And speaking of tours and so on, I also noticed that you are a foodie. You do enjoy food. What do you expect of
Yes.
Penang, lah? Penang, you come from the paradise food haven itself, Penang. And but is that the case for someone who's born and raised in Penang? When you live in KL, I've always asked all my Penang friends, is it the same as when the food you come and enjoy it, when you have it down here especially? Let's not go to the fine dining side of it. Let's talk about the hawker side. Do you really enjoy the hawker food whenever they say Penang char kway teow or Penang this, Penang that? When you have it in KL, you don't, right?
Yeah, when they have the Penang name in front of it, I
Try to avoid it, lah.
yes, but I have to say, there are a lot of hawker food in KL that we don't have in Penang, and I enjoy that, So maybe I'm the kind of person who is able to be happy and content wherever I find myself in. So KL has a lot of amazing places to eat, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah, that's the thing. But the thing is, when you're coming from up north, I'm from Ipoh, so KL food, despite being here for more than 20 years, I still meh, KL food, nothing to shout about. But top 3 food, if I were to ask you, what's your top 3 pick for Bihzhu? What would you go for? Compulsory, if say, for example, okay, I don't know whether you're dating now or not, but then again, if somebody's going to date you, okay, somebody's going to date you, the top 3 places you have to take you for a date, where would it be?
It's interesting. Whenever I go out on dates, I'm the one who suggests the food places because I'm like, okay, you have to try this place.
That's the dream girl. Every guy's dream girl. That's how you need to be. That's how it's supposed to be.
So my ultimate favorite restaurant that I keep going back to over and over and over again is Table and Apron.
Okay, the fried chicken.
Oh, you know it. You know it. Yeah. But beyond the fried chicken, it's that whole ethos of how they run their restaurant. And you can see in their service staff, right? Everyone loves what they do. They take so much pride in their work. And it translates into the food and the way they treat you as customers. So I love Table and Apron to death. Anytime someone wants to eat with me, they're like, hey, Bihzhu, you like Table and Apron, right? Should we go there? I'm like, say no more. I am there.
There you go.
Yeah. And then there's this other place, which is around the corner from Table and Apron that I really love. It's called Holy Chow.
Okay.
So it's run by Auntie Sue, who's from Penang, and she makes the most amazing lemak laksa.
Oh, lemak laksa.
Which is something that is so difficult to get even in Penang. I ate it a lot growing up because my dad's friend ran a hawker stall, and after school I get down from the bus, I would walk to the market and eat lemak laksa almost every single day. So to find that again here in KL, when I first when my friend introduced to me, I was like, oh my god.
Lemak laksa Auntie Sue, huh? Okay, I got to write this out. Huh?
HOLICHOW.
Okay, I got to write this down. This is definitely a place I'm going to visit.
Their Thai tea is also super great. Their otak is also good. And if you're in luck and they have perut ikan on that day, please order that too.
Have you ever considered opening a food channel or something?
No.
Because you seem to be very convincing when it comes to this kind of places. Like, I just heard this for 30 seconds, and now I just can't get this out of my head. It's like, okay, that's it. I'm going to take my wife for this place, but this weekend,
Yes.
Oh, so this is the second place. You got to take Bihzhu. Another one more place. Name me one more.
I would say, okay, just for one item.
Okay.
Alias Appam.
Alias Appam.
Have you eaten Alias Appam?
No, where's that?
No. Okay. So Alia is a little bit pricey. So you don't want to eat the other stuff. Fine, go have dinner somewhere else.
Okay.
And then you go to Alia and just order their masala chai and their appam. Their appam, I swear, it's like thin. And then they have like chunks of the palm sugar which is not yet melted, and then like the saltiness of the coconut cream.
Oh, this is like the Sri Lankan appam. Because Sri Lankan appam, you have that palm sugar on it. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
And I just want to say I have diabetes, so technically I haven't eaten this appam in a long time because I'm not supposed to. But I mean,
Once in a while, you just close your eyes, lah.
I think once a year I'll treat myself, maybe on my birthday, and this is where like Alias appam here.
Top 3 places. So, guys, listen up. If you ever have a chance to, if you ever get a chance to date Bihzhu, this is the top 3 places you want to look at. And the number one big no for Bihzhu is definitely KFC.
How you know?
Am I right?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of fast food, but
Yeah.
KFC. I mean, if you've had table and apron fried chicken, KFC now.
Yeah, I know. I know you don't
KFC
like KFC.
today.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm a sucker for KFC. I have to admit it, because during my childhood days, my father, every time I said KFC, wait, your mother will fry good fried chicken. So I never had that. So once I started earning, and that's where I've been hooked on to the KFC thingy. But you are right. These days, KFC is like, I don't know, man. It's just like after eating it one piece, and you have to drink gallons of water after that, for no particular reason. But then again, this is the nice suggestion. Hollister for Lemak Laksa, and you get table in April, and the other one is Alias what? Appam. Okay, I definitely got to try that. Definitely got to try that. Anyway, also I've noticed something about things that's been going on the social media lately. There was an issue about the Grab thing you posted on Instagram. Okay, because I'm a bit curious. You're the kind of person, like I said earlier, you just project this so-called positive aura, that feel-good vibe whenever I speak to you, that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden you get this kind of nonsense that's going on. Just because, how do you handle this kind of people? It's like, do you like react back, or you just like ignore?
It's funny. It's really hilarious because before I did that tweet, I actually had Shalini from a journalist from Free Malaysia Today who spoke to me about my experiences with Grab, and then she just this week the article was released, and it was such a well-written, balanced, opinion piece. And then, like that tweet that I did, it was literally me trying to go to my friend's open house, and Grab wanted to charge me 74 ringgit. I screenshotted it, like put it up on my Twitter, and just compared, because a bus ticket back to Penang is 34 ringgit.
I can imagine.
And 74 is more expensive than a return bus ticket. It was just to put into context, like how expensive Grab was. And the funny thing is, I didn't even take that Grab. I took InDriver. I got to my friend's place fine. And then before you know it, this tweet is going viral, and I mute it, right? Because it's like every second I take out my phone, it's like 20 notifications.
Ouch.
So I mute it, I ignore it, and then suddenly my friends start like messaging me saying, hey, you're in the newspaper. And then I see, I'm going to name them, Sinchu Daily and China Press, who had did articles quoting my tweet, and China Press even used a photo, all without permission.
Oh, that's bad. They seem to be having issues a lot with this kind of things, right?
Yeah, it's like, and the funny thing is they did that on Hari Wartawan Nasional. Okay, the irony. I'm like, where are your journalistic ethics?
Misinformation, misleading. The
Yeah,
whole works.
and you have to ask permission, you know.
Yeah.
And then because they have obviously really wide readership, and then I started getting the hate comments, you know, like random strangers like talking shit about me. And the funny thing is, I screenshotted those hate comments and I put up a post calling out Bihzhu and China Press and asking them to take these articles down. So as of this moment that we're speaking, China Press has already taken down the post with no contact with me, with no apology, but you know, whatever, I don't care. You took it down, thank you. That's the least you can do. Bihzhu still hasn't. And one of the people who was screenshotted because he wrote a hate comment on my page, he gets hot and bothered in my comment section and is threatening to sue me for naming and shaming him. And I'm like, I'm sorry. You have the audacity to post hate comments on my page. You better have the balls to stand by your comments.
Oh man,
He deleted his original comment, by the way, but hey, screenshots exist. And if you read Mandarin, or if you have so much free time, you want to amuse yourself, just go to my Facebook page, read the comments, and there's like strangers calling me names and insulting artists in general, saying things like, oh, you know, to be a singer, all you need is to waste your saliva. Why do you even need to charge that much? You know, blah blah blah. And let's face it, I'm turning 39 this year. I got better shit to do with my life.
That's the thing. It's like this. Sorry, I don't want to use this word, but I am going to use it anyway. This fuckers have nothing better to say in most of the situations. It's like comments. I mean, expressing your opinion is one thing, but try to be a bit more creative in your criticism. It's like have an idea what's going on instead of just dropping comments and then going like, oops, you know, that kind of thingy. That seems to be happening a lot lately. It's like
Yeah.
I don't know. It's you want to call it the cancel culture or whatever it is. It's like you just drop anything. I just say one line of anything, and then everybody just jumps on board and just drops whatever you want. That's happening a lot lately, right?
Yeah, and it's amusing too. Like some of them accuse me of tweeting to become famous because my career as an artist is not successful, and I'm like, wow.
If you're
Does
getting
anyone? It's like, wow, is that what you would do if you were not successful in your? Okay, I get it now. It's like honestly, these people need like they say in Malay, they tak cukup sayang.
yeah,
You
true.
know, they didn't get loved enough, so I just let them be. I read them because I find them so hilarious.
It is entertaining at
I
times.
laugh.
No, but as an artist for yourself, like okay, here's the tricky part of it. As an artist, you are, let's face it, you are open to criticism or things like attacks like this and so on. But how do you respond to these kind of things? In assuming, let's say, let's put it this way: this particular thing is fine, it's no big deal, and so on. But if such thing happens through your music, about your music or about your performances, do you actually like reply or retaliate to this kind of things just to defend yourself, or you just choose to ignore the whole thing?
It depends. Like I have to say, I've been very fortunate before this whole rap thing happened. Like I hardly ever get hate, because I think the kind of music I put out attracts a certain kind of people who resonate with the good shit, you know, who like good vibes. And so I rarely get hate, but I've gotten a couple, like a handful on YouTube, and if I have the time, I will just reply and wish them well, because it's like whatever you say doesn't really hurt me. It doesn't affect me because I know who I am, I know what I'm about, I know what I'm doing, and that's enough for me. And honestly, I will say I take this leaf out of the book of this trans activist called Alok Lee Menon on Instagram. And he is, sorry, non-binary, he's not trans, I apologize. And he gets so much hate on his page, on people just commenting really horrible things on his body, calling him all sorts of names. And he responds with so much love and so much compassion. And I was like, wow, that is how I would like to be. So when I got this handful of hate comments on YouTube, I literally plucked a leaf from Alok's book and said, like, I'm gonna respond to with love, because there's no need for more hate.
True. Because that's one thing I was actually, I don't know, for some reason I actually wanted to ask you about this for at the start of the interview. I thought one part of this conversation, and since you brought this up, which is kind of interesting right now, it's like you were talking about a friend of non-binary and all this kind of things, issues as such. I just want to have your take on this, because I was having a conversation with a friend earlier. It's like this, we seem to be in a great divide right now with people and their opinions of their personality and so on. It's like you said earlier, a non-binary person, the feedback, the backlash they have on how they look, how they think, that's one group of it. And then you have another group who also falls under this category, who tends to force that idea onto others.
When you say force that idea, what do you
No, like I said, you have to accept me who I am. This is what it is. You don't accept. They tend to read. How do I put it? I wouldn't want to say retaliate, or they get offended easily. You know, instead of educating, like how the friend that you mentioned earlier, who showed love and make people understand the whole idea. Don't get me wrong, yeah. Don't get me wrong. It's just out of conversation I heard the other day. So I'm just trying to understand this whole situation of how would a person react to this kind of situations. It's like one, I'm forcing my idea towards you, and the other one is like I'm opposing you. I'm talking about both sides of it. So your take on this particular situation that's taking place right now.
First off, I want to just put a disclaimer that, you know, obviously my opinions are just my own, and I cannot represent the communities that I'm speaking about.
Okay.
I will just bring it like into an example that is maybe more personal to you, right? Like, you are an Indian man living in Malaysia. Your experiences that you face in racism, harassment, and discrimination is something that a Chinese or Malay man would never understand, correct?
Yep.
And while it's sort of like, does it ever get exhausting for you to have to explain to someone how their fair skin privilege or their Malay privilege excludes them from understanding how you experience life as an Indian man here? Because there is a lot of shit that you go through, microaggressions or major aggressions that non-Indian people do not face, right?
Okay.
And it's like, so if you bring it down, you carry this lens over to like the non-binary or the LGBTQ community, their lived experiences are vastly different from straight heterosexual or cisgender, whatever people experiences. They experience a disproportionate amount of hate, discrimination, and all that they would not be able to explain to you because you just don't see it, because you don't live it.
Okay.
So it's 2022. Why should the burden of education be on the marginalized and oppressed communities? Why should it be your job as an Indian man to explain to a Malay or Chinese person that the things you face are different from theirs? Why can't they educate themselves?
Okay.
So this is my point in like we expect marginalized and oppressed communities to carry the mental and emotional burden of making their opinions palatable to other people to be accepted. And I think that's kind of bullshit. It's exhausting. It's different from me and you sitting down as friends and carrying on a conversation because I genuinely want to understand, and I wouldn't understand unless you really share a part of your story with me. That's a different story. But the way all these interactions are happening on social media and online, you see like that burden of education fall on the already exhausted and already like it's tiring. It's so tiring.
Because why I'm asking this particular question, like I said earlier, it has to do with what the backlash, or rather the negative comments that you have received. And like I said earlier, it's a great divide right now in the sense of what used to be just racism or discrimination of certain things, ethnicity, and then now it's like gender wise and physical appearance. It seems to be growing a very, very huge. It's like, especially for someone in the popular category or celebrity category, you seem to find those criticism coming up more and more and more these days. People find it to be like, it's okay, I just comment, I just say something absolutely stupid, as long people reply my comments. It's like, if you notice, if you look at all the comments that's taking place, sometimes I feel they're doing it on purpose, so more people will just, reply to them and make them popular in their algorithm or things
Yeah,
like that.
like I said,
Could that be a
that's what
possibility?
they maybe just want attention, or they find it convenient to be piling on hate to people who receive it on a regular. And to come back to this issue of like marginalized communities being loud and proud about themselves, think about it. Them being able to accept themselves and them loving themselves and them wanting to just be completely who they are is an act of rebellion. And it's a huge like fuck you to society for wanting the amount of like hate you see people get. Like, who are they hurting? They just want to live their truth. They just want to be able to express themselves just like me and you. And who are we to say that you're not allowed to dress a certain way, you're not allowed to look a certain way because it's not normal?
True. Very true. Very, very true.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I have
because-
very strong opinions about this.
No,
And
it's good. It's good because I always try to have conversation and such. But the problem is, people have this fear of having this conversation with the thing that, oh shit, I'm going to be attacked, or someone's going to have a different opinion on me for thinking in such a way, which is kind of disappointing for me, because it's hard to have a conversation on a rational side. Either way, that if you're supportive, if you're a kind of person who can actually hold a conversation, discuss about it, it's fine. But I've also had issues that people who are very protective over that particular community is like, anything you say, you get, wow, slam back. Oh, you don't know about me, that kind of thing. You're not just open to a conversation, but you're very defensive. You're always on a defensive mode that's taking place, which I don't know, for some particular reason I find that's could be an issue also, because you're not sharing your side of the story in the sense that
but can I just
yes, please.
can I just interject? While I maybe, like, if someone gets automatically defensive and all that, maybe to me and you that's not the ideal way to respond to something. But if you take into consideration, like, what are the past experiences this person or this community has had that is causing them to have to be that defensive?
Okay.
Because me and you, maybe we're approaching it in an intellectual, like, on the surface kind of way, but I guarantee you there will be a lot of people who have us with less than good intentions, and maybe they've been scarred in the past and have had really traumatic experiences with and that's why they have to be on guard all the time. Imagine if for the whole of your life you're told that you should be ashamed of who you are.
You're abnormal and all this kind of things. Yeah, I've heard that before.
Exactly, and not only from maybe your family members and the people around you, but also this discrimination is institutionalized. Your country tells you you're wrong, and there are laws and people in positions of authority who abuse their power and harass you.
True, very true.
These are their everyday realities that me and you will never see and will never understand. So I say maybe cut them some slack.
Yeah, true,
Even if that's not our chosen method of response, maybe cut them some slack.
I could imagine that. It's like I said earlier, another reason why I'm popping this particular question from music all the way we went. I don't know how we ended up with this, but anyway, because you see things in a different perspective. Like I said earlier, you infuse spirituality with your daily life, so you have a different take on this guy. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to have this particular conversation, because you've also dealt with a lot of people who does shows. I'm talking about the divas and all this kind of stuff. Entertainment industry is the one that's exposed to all this particular situation, and so that's one of the reasons why I'm asking. It's not exactly a compulsory conversation right now, but it's nice to have your opinion.
I'm happy to talk about it because I think, like you said, like conversations are important. They help build bridges.
Yes.
You know, and if someone listening to us talking about this today can sort of then now look at these communities with a more compassionate eye, then that's a good thing. We did something good.
That's the whole idea. So for the rest of listening to the podcast, don't just jump on board like all attack mode or whatever, right? I'll kill you. Trust me. If that happens, no, I'm just kidding. But I'm pretty sure it's nice to have conversations as such with you. And, well, like I said earlier, we are looking forward for your music, which let's get back to the music part of it. This was getting deep. I know this conversation can go on another 2 hours if you allow me, but I'm not going to take up your time for that one. But let's get back to your music side of it. You mentioned that you're going to come up with some live tracks being released in the next couple of weeks, or days, or months. Which one is it?
Like in the next coming months, there will be consistent video content.
Okay, that and live shows. Any upcoming live shows?
Not at the moment because like my drummer Ryan, he just became a father in
Hey,
January.
congratulations!
Yes, so he's actually taking a little break to focus on being a daddy. So I'm also not rushing out to take on shows. But if the inquiries do come, we'll try to decide on each one to see if we want to take it. And while Ryan is still on a break, we'll maybe play with different musicians in the meantime. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And I almost forgot. I've noticed you don't really have much of a collaboration in terms of your music, like featuring this artist, that artist, as many people do. Do you have your principle of I'm just going to play it and or you have people in mind that you haven't really approached or started yet?
That's really interesting. I like I said, I love collaborations, but somehow musically, I've never actually done much. Like I think the most was like a guest sang on the track for the band Nadir. Yeah, but hit me up, Pete.
But
interesting ideas. Let's talk.
But do you have anything in mind that you like to have someone feature singing along with you?
Actually, my favorite Sri Lankan band, The Soul, I've been chatting to them and fangirling them nonstop and be like, call me, please. So, who knows?
That'd be nice because I was just like I said, it seems to be a trend. Everybody's like featuring someone, a collaboration track and so on. But for you, it's like, hey, it's been solo all the way. Not even. Is there any that I missed out? Was there any tracks?
No, you're right. I haven't done much collaboration.
Okay, but if you could, so you have that one Sri Lankan band down there, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
my dream band for now.
Yes, and hey, the good news is now since everybody can travel, is there any international acts that you have in mind? International shows there might be a possibility.
The international ones, we gotta like. I would love to. But again, comes back down to resources. So it's like I've got goals, but I will slowly take small steps to getting there, and hopefully, some shows overseas would be in the works sooner
That'd be
than
nice.
later.
It'd be nice.
Yeah, it'd be
a nice short vacation, but hopefully not a room with 4 bunk beds.
My band would agree.
Yeah. Let's just have individual rooms, please. Thank you. Anyway, Bihzhu, thank you. Bihzhu, sorry. Thank you so much. It's been lovely chatting with you. I didn't realize it's almost an hour. It's like I said earlier, I could have a conversation with you for hours. I know there's so many great things to chat with you. You're an amazing person, amazing individual. Like I said, the only thing I don't see glowing is that so-called the aura light or whatever behind you, but you just have that good vibe. I don't know why. I sense it for all throughout my career. I had so many guests, but for you, something special. That's all I can say. There's something special about you.
Really, that is. I'm so flattered and I'm so grateful. Thank you so much.
For the first time, I've never felt this way. It's like when I was just like I said earlier, checking on here. It's like, this girl is special. This girl is very, very special. So I wish I could have more chats with you in the near future. And my sincere apologies, and I still don't know why we haven't had this chat before. I just don't know.
Everything happens at the right time.
I hope so. Hope so. All right. Once again, Bihzhu, thank you so much. And of course, people who like to follow Bihzhu, she's on social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify. I'll put all the link on the website. You can check it out for yourselves. Any other special sites that people need to visit you? Apart from.
I think that's good. Like that pretty much covers it. Yeah.
Okay, good. I was just afraid they might say, "Yeah, you can catch me on OnlyFans." Also, it's like no. Just kidding. Just kidding. All right. You have a nice day. You have a great weekend ahead, and
Okay,
I'll look
thank you,
forward
Nav.
to
Thanks for having me.
look forward to seeing you in the next shows. And please release more music, please.
I will.
All right. Take care then.
Thank
Sure.
you. Bye.
Bye.